are you stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder?
Who's scruffy looking?
Welcome to the Nerf Herders. We're an Armada tabletop game podcast, and we're going to be discussing the Nexus team tournament. And I have with me tonight Garrick Versio.
Hello.
Kalash.
Hello.
And Trogdor.
Hey, everybody.
And I'm Corsic9. So I'm new to Nexus. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I've seen some fun things, and there's a lot of cool, wacky ideas. And so, Garrick, why don't you tell us a little bit about the tournament, or if there's anything just about Nexus in general for anybody who might listen to this that isn't familiar, and then even those that are Nexus people, if there's stuff that they don't know, or just interesting stuff. So take it away.
Yeah, Nexus is our community Discord. Dodie and I run it. He has Starforge and everything up to date with it. It's meant more for the casual side. We have competitive players that enjoy it, but it's not meant to be for high-level play. We try to make it where you can't break anything. We don't want people to have a bad time. This is our second team tournament. We seem to be doing them once each March. It's teams of 4 without the rule for like Hondo only being in one fleet per team. I wanted list building to be more open so we get good playtest data, which is the point of all of our tournaments. They normally lead to some big changes to our content. Each player does have to do a different faction, but in addition to the standard factions, you can do New Republic or Scum and Villainy, which are the Nexus factions that have been approved. The others are still in the works. This tournament, unlike the last tournament, this one will follow just the ARC rule set. We allowed for the non-team tournament for you to choose ARC or not in your list. So if you wanted to do something like Salvo with old Sato, you could. You couldn't mix ARC and non-ARC content, but for simplicity, because it's best for the game, we are just going to stick to ARC, and it's one less thing to balance around because you can't really balance around both the base game and ARC. And the changes ARC has made and is making are really good for the game, so we want to stick to that. This one will go 4 rounds, hopefully one a week. We got a late start, so we want to finish before Worlds, and we did not require Nexus or Legacy content, so people could run their Worlds list if they wanted for more practice, which again, this is also meant to be new player friendly, so it may not be the best practice, but you can at least get used to your fleet. That's
Nice.
I think everything for now.
Yeah, so we've got unfortunately we have an odd number of teams. We've got 9 teams. So Team Best Coast, which is Pi 4155, Brian, Klaus, Stephen, and it looks like they have a placeholder. They have the bye for the week, but we have Rick and Mortis versus 46 Dice, and they have not set pairings yet, unfortunately, so we can't really talk about their matchups. We have T and Villainy 2, the Tequel, versus the 42nd Angry Zogi. So that's Adrian is going to be facing off against Ben. Daniel Smizzy is going to be facing off against the 42nd Gecko. HK88 is going to be facing off against the renowned Adam Angry Ewok. Lark is going to be facing off against Zog Andrew Pryor. And then we have team Putting the Nor in NorCal, which that's the team that I am on, headed up by Maki, with our local friend Scott and our not so local friend Andy, Andy Arkwelder. And so I'm facing off against Garrick, who's here with me on the podcast tonight. Trogdor is faced off against Andy. Kalash is facing Scott. And Jackson has already defeated Mercier, or I think that's how he says it, Alan Stelly. He tabled him. I watched the match. It's available on Alan's YouTube channel, and if I remember, maybe I'll put a link to that in the notes so people can watch it if they want. Next is Team 67 versus Team Huge, and so for Team 67 is Relent versus Justin Pryor, Laugh Fuzzball. Jar 18A4 versus Elmo. Sean versus Doug. Silver versus Pinky. And so some of these names, they don't have their Discord handles set up on T5, so it's just people's names, unfortunately. But so why don't we talk about our lists a little bit? Kalash, would you like to lead us off?
Sorry, I will say real quick, so the pairings for the 46 dice and I can't remember the team name off the top of my head. Sorry.
Rick and
Rick and
Mortis.
Mortis.
All right, yeah, Rick and Mortis, they're actually into Discord. So it's Wob versus Worf, Ness versus Luke Out, Baturin versus Verified Tax Evader, and Doty and Jarrett H are the matchups for that
Nice.
team. But yeah, so my list is under Kiadi Mundi. He is the Legacy Wave 1 commander that allows you to add dice in exchange for getting repair rates. He's on a Charger along with a Nexus Dreadnought, which is a custom Nexus ship, and then 3 of the Legacy Arquitens escort cruisers from Wave 1.
Why don't you
It's
talk about the Dreadnought a little bit, because some people may not be familiar with that one as much as they are with the Legacy stuff.
So the Dreadnought is based off the famous Katana fleet dreadnoughts from Legends. It's a medium ship with 2 braces and a redirect and 7 hull. And this particular variant has 3 reds and a black out the sides. I believe it is a red and black out the rear, don't quote me, and then a single rainbow out the front.
The
It's
card
got bombard.
shows double red out the rear.
It might be double red. I don't ever shoot out the rear, so I didn't remember off the top of my head. But it does have bombard and a turbo laser slot, so it is able to take LTTs, which makes it interesting. But I did not have that equipped in this particular fleet. And then the other piece of Nexus content in this list is Padme Amidala, which is a Republic officer that for 6 points exhausts and to reroll a number of dice equal to the copies of her in your fleet. She's a generic officer. To almost represents her handmaidens and her decoys. But if she's exhausted,
she's not generic.
when
She's not unique, is what you meant.
yes,
That's
not
what you're
unique
told
is what I meant.
She is locked to guard.
Yes, she is locked to Gar, but she is non-unique in Gar.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
And
So I noticed you have a large bid. Is that intentional, or is that just the way the list building worked out?
That is very intentional, and I almost wished it was larger. It was
You don't have to give your secrets
intentional.
away. I was just curious.
It is intentional, yes. It is. This is the dreadnoughts are very slow. They are limited to speed 2. Arquitens not great for speed shenanigans. So
Right.
I decided I'm gonna make you come to me.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, the reason I asked was I was looking at lists last night, and 9 out of 36 lists have a bid of 8 or more, which is 25% of the field, which is not normal. That's normally, um, you know, it's like less than 5% have a bid that large. So some of them look like maybe it was just because of list building. There wasn't really anything else to add. And then others like yours, I wasn't sure if it was intentional because you were trying to do something with objectives or you wanted to go for whatever, there's reasons. But so yeah, I just thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, there are a lot of fleets with bid in this tournament, which is part of why I wish I had more bid.
Are
Uh,
we
that's
are we
gonna be-
speculating about why that is?
We could,
My
yeah. I mean, if you got ideas.
my wild speculation is that uh, this tournament is a little less serious, so people aren't afraid to run really janky fleets that need to build into uh, certain objectives in order to be successful. And the other thing I suspect is going on is Nexus content. You can build really janky fleets that specifically require certain. You can build into objectives maybe better than you can with straight vanilla content. And so when you do that, and you're not in as competitive an environment, I think this may be sort of what it looks like. Although that is based on nothing except my vibes, so that's my caveat.
Yeah, it makes sense. It very well could be. My list very intentionally has a large bid as well, and I might as well just go over my list. It's I'm doing a Nexus. No, I'm flying a meta list, but it's Radis, and it's a home one Radis. So Radis is riding on a command HMC80, and I should have had my list up before I started talking, but I'm pulling it up as we talk. It's got expert shield techs, engine techs, flag bridge, early warning system, PDIC, home on and intensify firepower, and he's gonna drop off MC-75 ordnance cruiser with intel officer, ordnance experts, ECM, external racks, expanded launchers, and profundity. And so profundity is going to puke out Ezra and Shriv on a hammerhead with X-Racks. And then I have 2 flotillas for token shenanigans. And obviously I'm bidding to go first. And this was a list that a friend of mine created and made famous. Some might say infamous. And it was interesting. And I like Radis in general. I've flown other versions of Radis. And I wanted to try it out. And I saw that the last Nexus tournament had a lot of big ships. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to try out the Nutcracker list. But and I hadn't really dug into the Nexus content enough to find a list that I wanted to play. But about 2 days after the lists were due, I did come up with a hair list that I like. So next time I will not be playing a meta list.
So that's actually really interesting that you say you're bidding for first, because I thought Radis lists usually bid for second, so I assumed you were bidding for second.
No, it's a bid for first because I'm gonna puke out profundity, and then profundity pukes out the hammer. Profundity can't go first. That's my big gun. So the hammer goes first to remove your defensive retrofit, most likely. And with Shriv, and then shoots, and maybe runs away or maybe blocks you, and then profundity opens up with the big guns, and if it doesn't delete the ship, it leaves it very heavily damaged. And then home one is there to kind of hopefully box in that ship and finish it off on the next activation. So yeah, it's not a secret what this list does. It wants to trap a big large target and nuke it off the board, and then maybe it can get other ships after that, and maybe it can't, but hopefully it gets a big score that way.
Well, there are a lot of huges, so I think you're gonna be eating well this tournament.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Target rich environment.
I
Yes,
think all
certainly.
3 separatist lists contain a huge.
Specifically, the Looper Hulk. They
And
all have a Looper Hulk.
there's a superstar destroyer in the tournament too, and that's one of the other large bids, which also makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, Trogdor, do you want to go next?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am running Scum, so everything is pure Nexus content. So I have a Hondo commander fleet, and briefly his shtick is once per round he can exhaust to steal a command token from an enemy ship, and at the start of the ship phase, friendly ships can discard any number of command tokens to assign any number of matching raid tokens to enemy ships. So he's kind of the jack of all trades, general sort of. I would say kind of a default admiral or commander in Scum, who's just pretty good in everything, not great in anything, sort of a just a useful guy. And with him, I have him on a Keldavi battleship, which is sort of the Scum's answer to a Venator 2. It's a front arc focused uh, red and blue dice ship, but it's got a very narrow front arc and very wide side arcs and 5 dice in the side arc. And that makes it surprisingly very difficult to play. And also, it's difficult to play offensively because the opponent is able to get out of your front arc where most of your dice are if you're not careful. And it's also difficult to play defensively because your side arcs are a little bit weaker and they're huge target. So it's easy to get a lot of dice on target there. So I'm running a list to basically see if it's viable. I'm curious. So I have my Keldabi with EST, OPODs, Ruthless, electronic countermeasures, PDX, heavy fire zone, and then Nexus upgrades. I have Magistrate Oro, which is a slightly stronger, kind of different flight controllers in the weapons team slot. And then I'm running a fleet command called the Big Score, which is part of Scum's defensive tech. And basically, anytime somebody shoots at you, if there's 2 or more dice in the pool, they have to choose a hit or crit and cancel one. And if they, like with Jedi Hostage, if they get close to you, they can discard a squad dial in order to discard the card and deal you 2 damage cards. With that, I have Gozantes and a Crusader Flak Corvette, which is kind of like a CR90. It's running Projection Experts. And I'm also running a 134, which is mostly built around a couple of heavy bombers and an ace that has an ability where if she's shooting ship with a raid token, she gets to add 1 die, and so do any heavy squadrons at distance 1. So she and the heavy bombers together hopefully pair nicely, and will hopefully do some damage there. Basically, the idea of the list is park my Keldabi and all of its defensive tech on the objective and put my 134 between me and the enemy and dare them to come at me. Which, as we were just talking about, I have a huge bid for second, because if this fleet just doesn't work, if it doesn't get one of its nice objectives, so that's what I'm running.
When Maki was making pairings for our teams, at first I thought, oh, I want to face this guy. He's got a 177-point flagship I can crack. But then I saw what your commander did, and I was like, oh, that's not good because you could steal my squadron token to prevent Shiv from going off.
Exactly. Hondo's great for sort of just generally monkeying up your opponent's plans. He's
Yeah.
not like a haymaker kind of admiral, but he's really good on the fringes for just being disruptive.
Yeah, that's definitely disruptive for my kind of list where I have to have that token.
Well,
Well, Garrick,
I was
go
looking
ahead.
at your list, and yours was one of the ones I was the most afraid to fight because you outbid me. You were one of the
Yeah,
few.
I
Yes, I
think
will.
I think I have the
The
highest
ass-
bid in the tournament.
the assumption that you were going second as Radis shaped the entire matchup. The
Yes,
entire
Oh,
matchup
really?
determination for us. Yes,
yes.
Interesting.
because both Trogdor and I want to go second, and we saw, oh, he has higher bid
That's
and he's
interesting.
Radis. He wants to go second, so we can't do that. And Garrett got offered himself up as a sacrifice to Radis.
Yeah. Um, I'm a little offended though that they made Count Dooku better and then took him for scum. I I need Count Dooku buff.
I think the matchup between the two scum fleets, between Trogdor and Andy, is going to be hilariously destructive. I
Oh
think it's
yeah,
I think it's just going to be like you both are going to knock the crap out of each other.
Funny story about that. So this Keldabi build, it actually had never occurred to me because I find Keldabis generally they are pretty tanky on paper, but on the board, they're just such a juicy target, and it's so easy to concentrate your dice that I've never found them to be, especially tanky. They usually want to be flown like a battle cruiser, get in, get out, go fast. But Andy Arkwelder came up with this build where you put the big score from Scum and Pedix and all this defensive tech on it, and you run it like a tank. And he thought it was so strong, he was like, is this against the spirit of the tournament to run this? And I of course was like, no, run it, it's probably fine, and we'll find out. So I of course, being the good dev I am, took it for myself and am running that exact build in the tournament. And who's the first person I'm up against? It's him, who is not running this build anymore.
I'll say the interesting thing with Andy's list is that the Keldabi is his only non-flotilla ship. He
Yes.
has really put all of his marbles into that Keldabi.
Yes. And he's also running a 134. One thing I've noticed is there's a huge variety of 134s in this tournament, which I think is cool.
Unfortunately, brought
I've
to
got
you by the
exactly
Squadless Gang.
134.
I normally run 134. I don't often do squadless or even
Oh,
low squad. I like my squadrons.
I love Squadless. That's like all I fly.
I do want to plug Scum a little bit and say that it has a lot of interesting 134s because it gets to pull from both the rogues and villains. And we intentionally did not pull the more famous, like super strong, rogues and villains. So you get to choose from both, but only the lesser seen ones. And so you wind up with a lot of interesting builds that way.
That's what I was noticing last night when I was looking over the scum, and um, I was telling Garrick earlier, like I hadn't like when we signed up for the tournament, I would have chosen New Republic, but Jackson kind of wanted to play it because he helped create it, but um, and that's fine. And so I just wasn't scum just didn't interest me. But then when I was looking at the list, so I was kind of familiar and looking at the different scum stuff in preparation for the podcast, I was like, oh, there's some really interesting stuff in here. And then you get to the squadrons, and it's hilarious how many uniques and aces they have versus generics. There's all kinds of just crazy stuff. So it'll be really interesting to see it all play out.
It
Yeah, that
is
was yeah.
overwhelming the amount of uniques we put into Scum.
Well,
Well,
it's
Garrick,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna transition on to Garrick's, but if you got more to say, go for it.
I was just gonna say it. I think it. When you think of Scum in the Star Wars movies, you think of Jabba the Hutt, or Jabba the Hutt sending Boba Fett and Vader hiring, a handful of bounty hunters, and so I feel like it does fit the flavor to have a variety
it
of bounty
does.
hunters to choose for your
Oh,
134.
yeah.
So it was intentional in that sense.
It does.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's very interesting. Makes them play very different.
Yes, Scum is different. That is definitely a proper adjective for it.
Yes, definitely.
It's really hard to approach as a faction. It can be a little overwhelming. But on the should you fly something that's possibly broken and unfun? Yes, always do that in Nexus because we really need the feedback so we can nerf it.
Yes.
Maybe not over nerf it though. Sometimes we do that and ruin things in the other direction. But for my fleet, I named my fleet the Nexus Meta because I'm really desperately hoping that I come across the perfect matchup for this. I've got an ISD2 with Ozzel, best commander in the game. Maybe Dooku, but I've got Riva, boarding troopers, ECM, MS1 ion cannons, and precision turbo laser turrets, which is a Nexus Empire only turbo laser. While performing a non-ignition attack against a ship during the spin defense token step, if a die or dice would be cancelled, the defender must choose to keep or reroll each die instead. So that's basically hunting flotillas or smalls at long with their evades. We are thinking about making that one generic, not just Empire. Not ignition because we did not want to buff the Onager. We don't want to be responsible for that type of play. And then I have a Quasar with Taskmaster Grunt, flight controllers, expanded hangar bay, boosted comms, and pursuant. And then a Gazanti with CommsNet and Dedra Miro, another Nexus officer. And she deploys with 2 squad tokens on her card. And it's before an enemy ship at distance 1 to 5 resolves a command. You may exhaust this card to reduce that ship's squadron value by 1 to a minimum of 1 until the end of its activation, and you may spend tokens from this card to ready it. So you can use it 3 times without having to feed tokens to it. But basically, you can nerf someone's alpha strike against you. It's only by 1, but I have found that has been effective enough in some games to keep my squadrons alive longer, force them to go ahead of me if I'm first or second player, and then I can send my squads in. And my squads are Colonel Jindon, Merrick Steele, Darth Vader, TIE Advanced, the best version of Vader, Seventh Sister, which is in a TIE Advanced V1. That's a Nexus Ace, and I have her. Let's see. While defending against a unique squadron, when you would reroll a die, you may cancel it instead. And she has Dodge 1, Brace, and Evade. So both on Dodge and Evade, she can cancel a die. And then I have 5 of the TIE Brute from Nexus, which those are, let's see, Speed 4 and Hull 4. They have 3 blue anti-squad, 1 black anti-ship, with AI anti-squadron 1 and Snipe 1. So when I activate them with the Quasar with flight controllers, they get Snipe 3 and no rerolls. Or if they're in range for a normal attack, they can get 5 blue against the ship. Again, the no rerolls really gets me. I'm just I'm going with luck on that. Same thing with my flagship. I don't have any rerolls in my fleet. um, but yeah, so my hope is I come against a ace ball that I can eye down and annoy. I would love to snipe Anakin off the board. Of course, as I found in my last game without rerolls, I did basically no damage to him. I don't think he even spent his scatter against my entire 134, managing to attack him and axe.
Oh yeah, that was a fun That was
Yeah.
he never spent his scatter that game. He never spent his
Yeah.
scatter that game and survived a full alpha strike and then some.
Yeah, Axe lost his tokens and he lost his brace, but his scatter stayed green the entire game,
Yeah,
and he
it was
survived.
wild.
Yeah, my hope with MS1 ion cannons, I feel like there's a lot of Nexus upgrades that their first balancing factor is exhausting, and so like it's just my dream to come against a ship and exhaust like a crucial card, which again, that's why I called it the Nexus meta. Um, I was actually I wouldn't mind like exhausting someone's Hondo before he could steal my CommsNet token. Of course, we're on the same team, so I guess I won't be able to do it against you.
There
But
are Hondos.
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, funny enough, my first match against Radis, there's nothing in his fleet for me to exhaust. There's there's like no evade or scatter in his fleet, and then Dedra can drop his squadron value all she wants. He has 0 squads, and so my seventh sister also, while defending against a unique squadron, she does nothing. My tie brutes with flight controllers for snipe. I mean, I don't mind having black anti-ship dice, but yeah, I'm really built to like try to take on another like 134 or something and finish it off. And so first game, that is not happening at all. But
Well,
I'll
I've got ECM and Intel Officer. You can exhaust those.
Exhausting ECM is funny.
Intel
Yeah.
Officer might work better though because I mean by the time MS1 kicks in, you've already probably used ECM since it was a front arc of an ISD.
Maybe. Yeah. No, I mean, I could see the MS1 coming into play, honestly.
I may have
And
forgotten
especially
about
on my
Intel Officer.
MC75 that only has a brace and a redirect and then 2 contains. Not having ECM hurts really bad.
Yeah, so you don't sell
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
short, Garrick.
Yeah, so I'm gonna fly straight into his flagship and kill it before it can do the Radis drop. I don't think anyone's ever tried that strategy before.
That is the last words of everyone facing Radis. That is the last words of someone who gets 10-1 by Radis.
I can't believe no one's ever tried that before.
Don't listen to him, Garrick. This is a galaxy brain move.
You'll never see it coming.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's our fleets. Did you guys see any matchups in the matchups so far that you're really curious to see how they play out, or you think are going to be really exciting?
Yes, actually, I did see one. So, there it is. I believe it is between Team Huge and what's the team facing them? I can't ever remember the team names. There's too many of them.
It's Team Huge versus 67.
Yes. So in those teams there is it is Silver flying a Killian list, and I love Killian, versus the Superstar Destroyer we mentioned earlier. So Killian is my favorite Republic commander, which is hilarious because he's a Nexus commander. So what he does is that before you gather dice, you can change up to one of those dice to red. So if you have a front arc with red, red, black, just an example, then you can change that black to a red and then roll 3 red. And then for bombard ships, he can change up to 2 dice. So Silver has a Venator 2, an Acclimator 2, and an Arquitans escort cruiser. The Ven and Clam have bombard. And it's just I think it's going to be really interesting seeing these 3 ships facing off against the Superstar Destroyer. Because this is a assault prototype, Ravager, gunnery team, all that fun stuff. So I think it's going to be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, and that super is not going to enjoy shooting into those thermals. I mean, Ravager helps, but it's still not fun
Yeah.
losing half your dice before you even roll them.
Yeah. Yeah, those they do have thermals, but there are some easy points there as well. For the Superstar Destroyer, it has a Lancer, which is the Nexus Lancer is a flak focus small, so it can do a crazy amount of flak.
It
And
was our the Lancer was our way of allowing you to take squad list, and turns out that just makes 134 even better.
yeah, but the Killian list has a screen of some of Legacy's riggers, so the Lancer will probably eat those up. And then there's also an Arquitens that does not have thermals that will probably get eat up by the SSD.
Oh yeah, the
So it might,
Arquitens is going down for sure.
and the Lancer is not very tanky itself, so this might end up just a vendor and a clam versus an SSD, which I'm not a squads guy. I play this game for capital ships. That sounds freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Who has bid in this?
The the Star Destroyer, the Super Star Destroyer definitely has bid. It's at 389, while the Killian list is at 400. So I imagine.
He's gotta have a big bid because he's only got 2 activations and his super, even though it's huge, is locked at speed 2. So he has to force people to come to him. So he's probably got like contested outposts and those kind of come fight me objectives.
Oh yeah, he
Yeah.
and he is 2 ships and that's it. He doesn't even have a screen, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
That is not what I expected to see.
Jerry, he's running Jerry as his commander, and that is a perfect fit for this matchup. Because I was just thinking that Killian loves to stay at long, especially on Bombard. He is
Oh yeah.
maximized at medium, but he can comfortably stay at long, especially on a clam 2. Uh, so if I were playing the Republic, I would, obviously stay far away and just plink him to death. But with Jerry and on a huge measuring the turn from the middle, that you're far away one round, and then the next round his front arc is right on top of you, because he can turn so drastically. So
It's also
this is going to be a super good matchup.
I think the clam isn't even playing. It's planning to stay at long. It's got ordnance experts and racks. Like it is equipped to brawl, which is yeah. This is going to be a really fun matchup to watch. And 4 squadrons in the entire game. That's always fun.
Oh, and he's running R2D2 out of Legacy,
He
so he
is. He
can,
is
Ooh.
running R2 to mess with the tokens.
yeah, he
Or
can
no,
jank up his
R2
tokens.
got errata to not mess with opponent's tokens anymore. But that gives
Yeah,
him
he
some tokens. It looks like for his clone gunners probably. It's fat.
yeah, it's a good option for ComsNet since you don't necessarily want to take a Radiant 7 just for that.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the old version, but yeah, either way, still
Yeah.
I
interesting.
was also thinking the old version, yes.
So I saw an interesting matchup, and that is, I think it actually just concluded. I don't know for sure, but that is 42nd Gecko versus Smizzy. Let me pull those up real quick.
Oh yes, it did just conclude.
Well, don't tell me. I want to speculate, and then we'll see.
Yeah,
So
Smizzy's running that Riken weird looking swarm with a Pelta in it.
yes. So the reason this looks interesting is Gecko's running basically a 134. Focused on raiding the opponent and then just piling on haymakers with uh, heavy, basically decimators, just raining decimators down on the opponent. And he's doing that with it's a scum fleet, it's a crusader which is think like a CR90 with Hondo on it, and 2 Action 6 armed transports, which are a unique flotilla in Nexus. They have 3 blue dice out the front, and they both have decaps. So he's running 2 of those. Then he's running another Crusader, so like another CR90. And then I'm sorry, he's running 2 more Crusaders, so 2 more CR90. And then a support sort of carrier type Crusader, which is the other variant as like a carrier. So he's got 6 activations plus a 134 with
That is
Hondo.
insane.
So first off, just from a logistics, like that is the fleet of a masochist.
Yes, yes. And he
Uh,
has Twilight Entertainers on the flagship. I think that refreshes Hondo. So
yeah,
that's
so
interesting.
he can steal 2 tokens per round with Hondo on his flag Crusader. So he's relying on stealing tokens and banking them onto, because all of these ships are command 1, so he has to bank them onto different ships, and then the next round turn them into raid, so that way his raid 134 can pay off against, hopefully something like an SSD or an ISE, something big. So he needs to out activate the hell out of the opponent, outmaneuver him, position, steal tokens, raid, all while coordinating his 6 ships and a 134. So then you compare to Smizzy, who is running 2 flotillas himself, so he's even with Gecko, 2 CR90s, and the Pelta as like a carrier pusher. So plus a 134 rogue ball. So it's almost like a mirror match.
It is.
Just rebels versus scum, and it really, I think, plays to Gecko's weaknesses and his fleet, because he out activates Smizzy, but only by 1, and these are all command 1, and he's got plenty of token support, so raid isn't gonna stick, and he's got more than enough squads to run interference. So I just thought it was an interesting, it. I could be surprised, but it really seems like it plays to Gecko's weaknesses, which is unfortunate because it's such an interesting fleet.
Well, you would be surprised. Do you want to know the result?
Yeah.
Well,
Okay. Yeah. Tell me.
hang on before we get the result. I'm not for some reason I'm not able to copy and paste Gecko's fleet into the builder for some reason right now. How fast are his squadrons?
His
Slow.
squads, so there is, I think they're all speed 3 minus the Kiraxes, which are 4. The
Interesting,
Vigos are 3, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
because
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smizzy has green squadron that he can toss up to hold up a whole squad ball for a whole round. So I'm wondering how that played out. So go ahead and enlighten us.
Yeah. Hit me.
So the score was 114 to 28 Scum. A 7-4 in
Wow.
Scum's favor.
114 to
Uh,
28. Interesting.
So Smizzy must have played really cagey.
well, yes, that's what it's looking like because so with Nexus, for those who don't follow Nexus, there anybody can post a playtest with various Nexus content. You just list you post the lists and you post end of round photos. And that is what Gecko has done for this match. So it's you can actually see so they kind of toilet bowl around each other. Lots of flacking. It seems end of round 3 he jumped on one of Gecko's aces, but his dice were very poor and did
Interesting.
not get the kill until round 4. Raid also kept him from commanding squads before the Exogorst locked them down. It seems they played one of the. Oh, yes. Gecko picked Smizzy's asteroid tactics. So they had So it ended up Smizzy's own worms ended up biting him.
Oh no.
Wow.
And
Wow.
then the Vigos, so the Vigos are almost like Scum's version of Decimators. They're very similar to Decimators, but they are non-rogue, so they're a little cheaper. But they ended up eating a CR90 mid-round 5. So it seems that Smizzy only killed Justero and Vaxi, which is the not defense token unique. People call them a bunch of different names.
Mhm.
So only 28 points of squads in return for a CR90 and some squads. So
All right.
that's
Well, Gecko, if you're listening, I'm sorry for doubting you.
Well,
Yeah, it looks like that raid from Hondo was just clutch.
yeah, I think that was a big part of it because that's why his own worms ate him was because raid prevented him from commanding his squads to get him out of the worms.
Yeah, if you're not prepared to deal with raid, it can ruin your day. Especially if you
Yes.
haven't faced it in a while. Like anytime I bring raid, when I choose to bring Count Dooku
oh, you
because
cut out
I
there a
don't.
little bit.
Oh, I was gonna say, anytime I bring raid, because I still fly Count Dooku, because I don't need to win, I need to be happy, and he makes me happy. I did win one game because I did not realize my opponent got how raid worked with like styles gained can't be used to discard raid and they don't get around it. So now I try to check with my opponent to make sure they remember the rules because I don't want to I don't want to win by them just not remembering how it worked. But it can
Yeah.
easily ruin your day if you don't have the right token economy because it's so easy to get tokens, but if you don't bring that with a plan, then it really can gum up your fleet.
Absolutely. I play in the local Atlanta tournament circuit. I played a lot of TF last year, and raid can mess some people up because some people just aren't. It's almost like it's almost like a check. Like, are you prepared for everything, including grade?
Yep.
And some people aren't.
Between
Yeah,
Yeah.
TF and Draven, people should be much more prepared for raid. Obviously,
Oh,
Draven, you have
yeah.
to wait to discard it, but
Yeah, Draven
Yeah,
is
I think
everywhere now.
you gotta have token support in your fleets. Otherwise, especially with Draven, I mean, just in general, but now with Draven. But I think the meanest version of Draven is gonna have a slicer tools in it.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that's the one that is gonna wind out kind of floating to the top, as far as competitive Draven fleets go. But so one of the things that like why I'm kind of hanging around Nexus that interests me is New Republic because in high school I was reading all the X-Wing books and everything and played the old X-Wing game on from 1994 and loved all that stuff. So I'm all about the New Republic and so I'm watching definitely Maki who's a teammate and he has a very interesting um 4 activation fleet with just a screen. But the other one I'm watching is Ben Hoodie's fleet. He's got a Wedge Antilles fleet on an endurance carrier with a Rita Bell, FCT, flight controllers, intensify firepower, boosted comms, and venture. And then he has a Corona support frigate with FCT, expanded hangars, bomber command center, and bold heart. And then he has a CR90A with Talon card and Hondo. And his squads are Gavin, Pash, Tycho, generic X-Wing, 2 K-Wings, and 2 generic E-Wings. So I'm super interested to see how he does. And this week he's facing off against, where did it go?
Adrian, because this is also
Yeah.
a fleet that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, well, go. You can go ahead and talk about Adrian's fleet because I'm not here for the Separatists. I'm not really a fan. But so knock yourself out on
Um,
that. I just think the New Republic's going to be interesting.
yeah, and this is Ben's faction. He plays it quite well, and
Right.
so unless he just doesn't know what to do against a Lucre Hulk, which I think he does, um, I think he'll win. He has bid. He's got 390, and Adrian has 392, so he can choose what he wants to do. The reason I wanted to talk about Adrian's fleet is because I looked at it, and even though I don't like huge ships, I've gotten accustomed to the Lucre Hulk by force of being in Nexus during that entire development cycle. Um, and I think he's really close to getting a good fleet because all the tests kind of went into one direction with it. He has the droid control ship, which is the squadron activator. He has Linwo- Linwodo, I guess is how you say that commander. It's a
Linwoda.
Nexus. It's a Nexus commander that we are trying. It's another super tactical droid. And his ability for 23 points, while a friendly ship executes a maneuver during the determined course step, that ship may suffer 1 damage or discard 1 command token to increase the yaw value of 1 joint by 1. So it's a different Jurjerod, I guess, is the best way to describe that. And that's a commander I've really wanted to try on like Providence, and even with Recusant, because a lot of times with my Providence, I want to be like pushing squads or something, and I still need to nav if I want to go, especially sometimes when I want to go speed 3. So I feel like that could make a big difference. Um, and then he's got the Vuntan Pala title. I also don't know if that's how you say that. But that's basically flight commander and BCC slash anti squad rerolls too. After you do your maneuver, you can activate your squads, and then let's see, squadrons you activate may reroll 1 die while attacking a ship or squadron that you attacked this activation. So basically, you perform your attacks and then activate squads. So if you've got hyenas, you can do some serious damage. Um, this I think his squad ball and his Gazanti are where he suffers because he has a 44-point Gazanti. It has intel officer, weapons battery techs, NK7 ion cannons, and the insatiable title from Legacy, which is a very interesting build for a Gazanti. I don't think that's the best place to put your points. I think he could have. I would have gone up all the way to 134 on squads. He's only at 124. Um, and he's got 3
A lot of work to
tri-fighters
get
in there.
NK7s to go off.
Yeah. Um, and I feel like he's got the Bactoid prototypes, Darth Maul, which is the legacy ace, and Flacker Fok, and then 3 droid tri-fighters and 3 hyenas. And I feel like he could have saved points on the Gazanti and swapped those tri-fighters to vultures and gone more vultures and more hyenas. And honestly, he probably could have kept those aces. You really should have Wat Tambor in any TAS squad ball. But I think he's
That
really close to something good.
that is debatable on Wat
Yeah, I
Tambor.
was just gonna say
7-7
I
is
don't
pretty
think I
good.
agree.
Oh, okay. My squad's to be alive for longer.
I don't know. The
Or you
what I
could
was
kill them faster.
yeah,
That's the debate, yeah.
Yeah,
full reliable is 7 and 7 for a reason, and if it were me making this fleet, that is exactly what I would have done. I would bury you in
absolutely.
vultures.
Yeah.
And
I was trying to
hyenas.
keep I was trying to keep the aces. I assume he wanted to. My first thought was 7-7. And I think on the Gazanti, you really should just go the flight controllers route, and Insatiable's fine. It's hard to
Yeah.
get it to work because you are taking damage, but if you position it well, it should survive. But yeah, I mean, the faster you punch through their squads, the faster your hyenas can really shred them. I guess that there's some argument though to take the Tri-Fighters because they do have a black anti-ship die, and they can reroll that with the Vincent Carlo title as well.
No, vultures are just so efficient that it's
Yeah.
Tri-Fighters look way cooler, but it's just so hard to take them over vultures.
Yeah.
Are we seeing many low squad in this tournament? Like,
No,
I think,
I was.
yeah, I think it's a lot of squads for the most part, which is unfortunate. I know
Yeah,
I'm
'cause
squadless.
Maki has a screen of like 4 squads, I think.
Yeah,
But most are either squadless or full squads.
I think
yeah.
I took a rough count, and I think something like 2/3 of people are running a 134.
Which is numbers in October. There's a lot of 134s
Yeah,
in Nexus.
statistically, it normally in a normal non-Nexus, those are the numbers I'm familiar with. Statistically, it usually breaks down 30 to 40%, 120 plus in squadrons, and then there'll be like 10 or 15% in the middle at like, a light screen, and then there'll be like 20 or 30% at the bottom with none. But so the point spread and the fleet builds are very skewed in this, but the nature of the team tournament lends itself to having skewed lists because you can finagle matchups a little bit, so you don't have to face the big Radis boogeyman or whatever.
Unless you do.
Yeah.
Garrick.
Unless you do, unless you threw yourself on the altar as the sacrifice.
yeah. So the Nexus meta, it turns out, is really good for vultures. And I almost took the CIS fleet.
Yeah, vultures are
You should
obnoxiously
have.
good. Like, I feel like you have to have a good reason to not take
Nah,
them, or you just want to not take them.
I would feel more comfortable going into your squadless Radis if
absolutely.
I had a bunch of hyenas, Pat's Fist, and a Providence.
Yeah,
But
yeah, that's fair.
yeah.
Yeah, I think vultures and hyenas are just so good. CAS is great.
I do think Legacy has opened the door a little bit to you can run different fleets if you're taking a bunch of scimitars. Like I have very successfully run 4 generic scimitars as a screen and run it in a fleet that had no squad pushing at all and done okay with it. Whereas before I feel like it was pretty reliant on vultures and hyenas. So kudos to Legacy.
So there was not long after Wave 0 came out, I tried it was a double recusant and a Gazanti Rogue 134. And I could just not get it to work. The scimitars do not shoot squads very well. They will tear up ships. 2 blue non-bomber is surprisingly good at against ships.
If you have
But
any kind of luck at all.
yeah,
I think you
but
gotta have ruthless.
against squads, it's hard. Yeah, I think you
Yeah.
gotta have like some sort of damage dealer, or honestly, I was thinking of cutting down to like 1 scimitar, and I think 1 scimitar, Dooku, Django, and Maul as my only rogues, and then it would be just 6 vultures.
Yeah, we
Oh, you're talking.
designed them to not be a swarm. We didn't want to promote that playstyle that people don't necessarily love in other factions. The 1 or 2, that was the goal. Because the only other way to get intel was that vulture droid ace that, you don't really want to fly that either.
Yeah.
Well, was there any other interesting matchups you wanted to talk about? We're around the hour mark, so we probably ought to think about wrapping it up.
I think that's it for this week.
I'm all set.
All right.
think that
Well, just a
is.
couple housekeeping notes then. For anyone listening that is not familiar with Nexus content, the easiest way to view it is to go to star-forge.tools, create an account if you don't already have one, and then click the hamburger plus icon, and then enable Nexus content. There's toggles there for Nexus, Legacy, and Arc. And then if you want to see the really wacky stuff, there's the Nexus experimental toggle as well as for Naboo from last year and old Legends content and such. I will try to put some links in the show notes, but there is one very important thing that I have to mention. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure ninja assassins are going to come for me, sent from the Netherlands. There is a painting contest going on, and you can learn all about that on the Nexus server. It's in the announcements for the tournament. There's several different categories that you can enter in. There's most obscure ship, most memed ship, bigger is better, lore accurate. There's a squadron section of the contest with similar squadron categories. There's a fleet section of the contest, and there is going to be awards and or prizes involved. They're not super flashy, but one of them is getting your picture incorporated in alt art, which is pretty cool. But I know Wobble's super excited for it, and he said he wants to see all your weird ships. So enter that. It's fun. I'm definitely going to do it. I'm going to enter a couple categories, I think. So yeah, definitely check that out. Is there anything else you guys want to say before we sign off?
Yes. On the Starforge, if you do toggle experimental, that is not for the faint of heart.
Oh, yes.
Some of that stuff is a little scary, and we know that is not in any way in a final state, and massive changes, some complete reworks will be done. So if you see that, please, and you use it or have thoughts, please share them with us politely in Nexus. But please don't take that as a fully released item. And nothing in Nexus is ever finished. Approved content has been tested, but it changes all the time. I don't think there's anything that we've approved that we haven't later revised with more data. So if you don't like something, you might be asked to test it, back up your opinions, but we will change it if you provide feedback that shows that it should be changed.
Yes,
My
there was
opinion is the resistance in
sorry.
the First Order should not exist, and they should just be deleted because those movies were horrible.
Yes, I agree.
Wow.
Uh,
I'm gonna show up to your house now, so
genuinely the resistance and force order factions. I hate the sequels. I'll be real. But the resistance and first order factions are genuinely interesting.
I'm sure they are.
First,
I haven't even looked at them. I'm just joking, just because I really dislike the movies.
oh,
But I know
absolutely.
that's some people's jam, and that's totally cool. I'm not being a jerk about it. I'm mostly joking.
No, I will be a jerk. The sequels suck. Wake up.
Oh yeah, no,
But
that yes, definitely. I just meant I don't want somebody to take
yeah,
offense if that's their favorite thing. I'm not. That's different strokes and all that stuff. But anyways,
yes, but the first order has a weird. It has a weird, almost two ship like central theme. Like you could build a lot of different two shifts lists. I know Zog was messing around a lot with that for a while, and the Resistance is kind of having to refigure itself out, but it's shaping up to be very interesting.
cool. Well, we
truthiness
aim to
is
do this.
helping a lot with resistance.
Oh, nice, nice. Well, we aim to try to do these podcasts at least weekly through the tournament, and so hopefully we'll have some more games played to talk about next time, I'm sure, and see how those matches we looked at play out. So we will see you all next time. Thanks for listening.